So, Zeno,
Yeah?
I am admiring this amazing paint job.
It's kind of like they ran out
Well,
selectively.
Like give it a little splash of paint. Let's not worry about these bits of exposed concrete. But it seems fairly, well, I would like to say uniform, but not really, because you get this one, for instance, got just a little dab. Like let's get a little bit of white paint on there.
Right.
Yeah.
White paint quotas are low.
Yeah, either way, we're currently at the top of a mountain, and
It's called Elephant Head.
we've been here before, but probably not on ADVChina.
Yes, we have.
Oh, we have we? Okay, well, sorry for that then. Here we have the Guanyin, which is a goddess, and all these various other statues. And unfortunately, some of them have their nice golden bases, but a lot of them, I guess they just decided to give up half-heartedly. And remember, this place has been around for years, so it's not like it's still under construction.
I came here 5 years ago when they started it.
Yeah. Anyway, just admiring the craftsmanship.
Nice.
And we're going to be talking about internet addiction.
I know, obviously, when I look at Guanyin, I immediately think of that.
I think it's because being outdoors like this is something that most internet addicts never are.
It's probably true. Well, they're harvesting their gold in World of Warcraft or whatever Chinese equivalent.
Yeah, League of Legends. We're going to be talking about this from a fairly positive point of view, actually, because things are changing, and I'm going to tell you why it's positive. But C-Milk's going to start. We're going to hit the bikes, and we'll catch you there. So, C-Milk, something has just happened recently with the whole internet addiction situation in China, so how about you tell us all about it?
Well, internet addiction is a steep and slippery slope, if you know what I mean.
Kind of like this.
Exactly. This is actually pretty terrifying. I know.
Don't
I remember.
accelerate.
Remember when you were like, I wonder if we came here before. Remember on this corner you said I just want to drive off the edge.
They've got this little mound here, and it looks perfect for like ramping. It'd be such a glorious last few seconds as you fly towards those trees.
Right.
You regret
it. Would
it.
be.
You'd regret it.
Well, you wouldn't, because you'd be dead.
I don't know.
No time for regret.
You could survive. You're wearing proper biker gear.
Oh,
anyway.
That's true.
Anyway.
Internet addiction. So basically 1 in 5 people, according to the China's Ministry of Health, they said that 1 in 5 people are considered clinically internet addicted, right?
Yep.
And that's not just games, it's all kinds of crazy stuff that they do online. It could be online shopping on Taobao, accumulating worthless tat, or online mahjong and all that kind of stuff.
It's mainly gaming though.
It is mainly
and
gaming
gambling,
though, we're talking about gambling. Anyway, so this is obviously an issue because there are so many internet users here in China, and if there's 1 in 5 of them that is clinically addicted, that means they're spending literally 99% of their life on the internet. And there's cases of people dying, in the internet cafes because they don't get out of their chair. Nice pagoda.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just pretty bad. So what this is actually you're seeing a lot of school-age children going to internet cafes and playing League of Legends and all these Chinese games that are kind of purposely built to allow addiction or promote addiction.
Sure.
You come in here and we'll give you a card that gives you 90% more gold, or like I see these advertisements at the internet cafes near my house.
Yeah.
And so these kids will kind of flock there because maybe they're picked on at school, maybe they don't have very many friends, or maybe that's their social circle is to go and play these games. So what happened was China, typical in Chinese fashion, they found a way to monetize someone's plight.
Yep.
And they started these internet addiction boot camps. Now, what these were, or these facilities were, they'd dress these kids up in army clothes.
Yeah.
And they'd go and they'd get a PLA guy to basically whip them into shape. So they go exercise, they do little kind of trips, out into the woods and community projects and cleaning up, picking up garbage and stuff. But these centers became increasingly competitive because they weren't government run, some of them. They're just private enterprises. So they'd be like, we're guaranteed, not like so-and-so center, that your kid is going to come out totally clean and never want to play again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these places, the kids would get like wicked depressed and stuff because they can't, do anything.
Yeah.
And they weren't, psychologically properly run by, scientists and real teachers and educators. So
take a left here.
Yeah.
Cool.
These people, these places that were running these centers would get increasingly competitive and say, we offer so-and-so therapy. And eventually it became standard fare to use electroshock therapy. And that's when they put, those little, what's it called?
Electrodes.
Electrodes to your brain,
Yeah.
and shock you and try to shock the addiction out of you. But then they started using it as a way to punish bad behavior.
Right.
So a lot of these kids would sneak cell phones in and play games, or they would get suicidal, and they would actually, when the kids were getting suicidal and trying to kill themselves, they would use more electroshock therapy. And there was reports of people getting shocked over 130 times within the 100-day stint that they were staying there.
Sure.
So you had these kids just getting shocked to death, and it became so bad. So when you said it was positive, this is the positive twist, is China's now made a law that says you can't do electroshock therapy in some of these camps, and a lot of people are trying to ban these camps altogether because they think they're kind of gross human rights violations.
So why do you think these camps exist? Why can't the parents just say, hey, get off the computer?
That's because there is a serious problem with parenting in China. It's usually because of the parents' absence.
Okay.
So these kids turn to games and online communities and things like this, and LOL and all this stuff, because their parents aren't around. A lot of parents will be out to work. The stay-at-home mom thing is kind of gone now, so both parents are working. Could be in another city as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the grandparents are taking care of the kids, and they don't know what video games or internet addiction can do to the kids. So
Sure.
for them, it's a slippery slope, like I said, but hopefully things are going to change, and hopefully things get better. But why don't you tell us about some more of this kind of internet cafe culture, because it's something that you don't see a whole lot of at home.
Sure. By the way, check, there's a little orchard over there.
Where's that?
Just kind of noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Little orchard.
Orange
Kinda
trees,
cool.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry. There is a problem with parenting, and it also comes from the one-child policy and the fact that children are very spoiled. But we're actually going to be discussing that in our next episode.
Right.
So, let me tell you about internet cafes, because I spent a fair amount of time in internet cafes when I first came to China.
Right.
And, I didn't have a stable living situation when I first got here. I was living in hotels and whatnot, right?
Right.
I eventually got to stay with a friend in like this red light slum.
Nice. That's what you want to do.
Until all my money ran out. But before my money ran out, I was staying with these guys, right? And what would happen is, because I didn't have my own key, they would sometimes go out for like the whole day or do whatever they were doing. My one friend was not employed, but he still had things to go do.
Okay.
And I'd be locked out, so I wouldn't be able to get back in for like, say, 12 hours at a time sometimes.
Right.
And so I needed a place to go.
Yeah.
And I quickly found out that these internet cafes were a great little like refuge, like an oasis away from the world.
Okay.
And okay, what do we got here?
Do we have to drive through like a lake?
Yeah, we do. With these mud guards, let's go slowly. Hey, there's like little ducks or whatever.
Really?
Geese.
Look at those little
Geese.
ducks.
Are they ducks or geese?
Those are
Geese.
ducks.
Oh, okay, ducks. Yeah, geese are the long neck ones, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm not much into the avian thing.
Okay.
These places were great, okay, because first of all, they're incredibly cheap. And I mean, okay, this is years ago, what am I saying? Like 10 years ago, right?
Wow, really?
You would pay about 5 RMB for about 2 or 3 hours.
By the way, there's all these sturgeon farms, which I think is weird. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, first of all, it was actually really cheap. And you'd pay like 5 RMB for like, say, 3 hours of being able to use these computers. And one thing I noticed is they were very pro in their setup. They had like the best, at the time, best GeForce cards in them. They had a very interesting setup that every time the computer's rebooted, it basically reformats the hard drive and reinstalls operating system from scratch, but like an image.
Yeah.
So it would come up with all the apps installed, all the latest games.
Yep.
You'd have access to, obviously all in Chinese, so it's kind of
Did you have to use your ID card back then?
No.
No. So you have to now.
You have to now, yeah. It would have like a massive movie and music library that you would be able to just access directly off the desktop, so people would just sit there and watch movies all day.
Yeah, it's not just games.
No, yeah. So the nice thing is that these big sort of, office chairs, those massive tall back ones that you can just kind of like lie back in.
Yeah.
Earphones, they had webcams, so you could do Skype. I used it for Skype and stuff. And basically I'd noticed people would go there and they'd actually stay there for days and just sleep in the chair.
Yeah, because it's so cheap.
And you can order like instant noodles, fang bian bian and stuff right there. And you could actually just sit there and eat, sleep. There obviously toilets there. They had like couches where you could go relax with like big projector screens where they'd be just showing a movie on loop, you know, sort of a blurry movie. And, you know, obviously it was they were seedy, you know, like cigarette burns on the couches, sticky floors.
You hear like a lot of drug trade in these things too.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about fairly seedy sort of places, but they're like an oasis. And I also realized, you know, because internet cafes, they died down in the West like years ago, right? They're just not a thing anymore.
Right.
There's some geese.
Hey, there's geese.
I do know my avians. Anyway.
Nice.
So, the thing is, a lot of Chinese households actually, especially in the rural areas, don't have computers.
Yeah.
I mean, people have phones or they'll have a tablet, but back then especially, like, this is before even the iPhone was invented, you know.
Yeah.
That was 2006. And the only way people could actually play games, that's also why arcades survive to this day in China. The only way people could play games is literally just by going to these internet cafes, and then they'd have the latest gaming hardware and all the latest games already installed. So and that's still why people do it today, because it's easy. Also, the Chinese family unit, when you're at home, you always have your grandparents there, you know, you always have your parents, someone's looking over your shoulder, you can't relax and be yourself.
Right.
So I also saw that it was kind of a place for people to go on dates. It's kind of weird.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'd see, you know, sort of couples sitting there playing like Dance Dance Revolution type games together and that kind of thing. So these internet cafes are sort of an oasis for young people, a place for them to get away from their family, chill out, play games with their friends online. And yeah, I guess it just got out of hand because it turned out to be like a place where addictions could be made, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes drug addictions, sometimes game addictions.
Usually
this
game
is pretty
addiction.
cool, by the way.
Yeah, it is nice.
We're going up this like terrace. I don't know what they're growing though.
Probably tea.
Yeah, it looks like tea, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, the thing is, I have very positive memories of these internet cafes, like I said, because I could go there and sit and drink beer and mess around on the internet and watch movies and stuff while my friends were locking me out the apartment, you know?
Gotcha.
So, you got to understand that there's a lot of positives to these internet cafes, but they've clamped down. Now you need an ID card, a Chinese ID card. So foreigners can't use these internet cafes in a lot of places.
Some of them will let you use your passport.
Yes, some of them, but only in like the biggest cities, really.
Actually, that's bold because I remember going and they needed one, but they just ended up using my friend's ID.
Ah, right, yeah. Well, it depends where you go, you know. But yeah, they're more regulated now because of the internet addiction. They want to hold these places to account. And it's also a good way, like if someone's spreading rumors online or anything political, then they can trace it back to that person.
That's exactly why they do it.
Yeah. This is cool up here.
This is awesome.
So I guess it's positive, this video is positive in the fact that they're not shock therapying anyone anymore.
Yeah. And it is an interesting insight on the subculture of China.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've seen internet cafes in America, but it's not the same thing.
No, and people here are hardcore. If they get stuck into an online game, they will literally stay for days and play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really it. Is there anything you want to add before we finish?
Well, I want to say this is pretty incredible scenery up here.
Absolutely.
We're seeing more and more. We're uncovering it. This is pretty cool, and this is what we do on ADVChina. But this is what I want to say is my advice to all you internet addicted folk. This is a hell of a lot more fun off-roading our bikes on top of a tea terrace in China.
Yeah.
There's plenty of adventure for you guys to go out and have. You don't have to, you know, slay pigs and claim piles of gold or gamble away all your money for some shitty internet tile-based game, because you can do what we're doing now. Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It is. I do not want to sound preachy at all. Yeah. That's not my thing. By the way, let's stop here because we've got this awesome view. I'd like to get it on cheek cam to finish up.
Sure.
I don't want to sound preachy, and it's one of those things that you kind of have to live life, right?
Yeah.
In order to get to a point where you realize what's important and what's not.
Right.
But, you know, I'm a big gamer, huge gamer, by the way. People may not know.
I like the ad game.
See this? Everyone's always like, what's this? What's this?
Your N7 jacket.
I'm a big fan of Mass Effect. I'm a huge gamer, and I like to play games. But actually, the other day, I was looking at games to play, and I downloaded something that was on the PlayStation, like, what is it, like Neverwinter Online or something?
Okay.
And it's a typical fantasy RPG. You make a character, you go out and you play with other people, and you slay dragons and stuff.
Right.
And I was like trying to get into it, and I was like, you know what the hell am I doing?
Right.
Right? It's like I'm pretending to be some kind of a hero in this make-believe nonsense game, spending my time right now online with a bunch of other people just sitting around, you know, pretending that I'm in this amazing world where actually we live
in an amazing world.
In an amazing world. And if you're going to be a hero in real life.
And be a hero and like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. So, for all of you heroes, and by the way, I'm not slagging off gamers here, being a big one myself. It's just, it was kind of like an epiphany. Have fun with your games, but don't put too much into it because you can really be doing something of real value out here. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Until next time, guys, love you all and stay awesome.